RemiLore, Lost Girl in the Lands of Lore is a roguelite action game starring a high school girl named Remi. After startling a magic book named Lore, Remi was accidentally teleported into the fantasy world of Ragnoa, an alternate dimension being ravaged by mecha monsters who are led by an android named Shu. Playing as Remi, you need to fight your way through various areas in Ragnoa to reach a portal that can take you home to Earth. Gameplay is surprisingly reminiscent of action RPGs like Diablo. Playing in an isometric view, you'll hack and slash your way through worlds, picking up loot dropped by enemies to power up your character. Though the loot will mostly be currency to spend at shops and on upgrades, you'll also find chests with increasingly powerful weapons. The most fun I had in RemiLore was getting stronger weapons and unlocking better spells and upgrades over the course of the game. The classic scenario of watching the numbers go up that draw people to loot games. Watching the numbers go up is probably the main thing that will appeal to players of RemiLore, since the game itself is too dull for the campaign to be particularly interesting. Though each weapon type has its own unique combo list, there isn't a lot of strategy involved in using them. Learning actual combos with each weapon never felt like it was any more useful than just mashing buttons to keep hitting mecha monsters in the face. There just isn't enough variety in combat to keep RemiLore engaging for all 4 acts. Although there are at least 6 weapon types, I had only unlocked 2 by the time I had finished the game, and between the 2, the one-handed sword and the hammer, I only actually enjoyed using the sword. Although I would keep finding newer, stronger swords, their movesets were the same. My equipped spell would change with each weapon, but since they were all area of effect spells that more or less happened independent of my other attacks, they never actually made combat any more exciting or interesting. The monotony wasn't helped by RemiLore's supposed roguelite nature. I say supposed because it didn't actually contain the kind of numerous deaths that a roguelite is known for. On my first run through the game, I played the entire campaign from start to finish on my first attempt without dying. This isn't because I was particularly skilled, but rather because the game was way too easy. You do unlock a harder difficulty option, but that's not until you've already finished the campaign once, and by then you'll have long since gotten bored with the repetitive combat. The most fun I had playing RemiLore was in an alternative game mode where my weapon switched to a completely different weapon every time I defeated an enemy. This actually ended up being a much more interesting challenge that forced me to stay on my toes and adapt to a changing moveset. Unfortunately, once again, this better game mode is not unlocked until you've already completed the entire campaign, making it difficult to recommend. A full playthrough of RemiLore is about 2 hours, and I have trouble saying it's worth slogging through a brief but boring campaign just to get to an alternative game mode that's only kind of more interesting. RemiLore just doesn't have enough variety to stay interesting for more than a few minutes. Though the characters are mildly entertaining with an impressive amount of dialogue to flesh out their interactions, there's just too much you need to put up with to get to the good parts of the game. Roguelite and action RPG are 2 crowded genres, and RemiLore unfortunately decided to tackle them both without covering even the basics of what makes either interesting in the first place. Thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing to Nintendo World Report TV. You can also check out NintendoWorldReport.com for a whole lot more, and if you want to support both this channel and the site, check out Patreon.com/NWR. You can also join the conversation in our Discord server through the link in the description.